Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started in a moment. If you take your seats. Good afternoon. I'm Tracy MacArthur. I'm the President and CEO of Hamilton Health Sciences, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Well, the time has come. This is an incredibly exciting day for all of us. I know everyone in the room has been on this journey, some for a very long time, and we're so thrilled to be standing here today. In a moment, I'll welcome Grandmother Jackie Labonte, a traditional healing program coordinator here, to officially open our event. But before I do so, I just wanted to highlight the many thoughtful features of this new hospital, including our spiritual care room as well as our Indigenous healing space that we're so proud to be able to offer here. These are sacred spaces that honor the spiritual traditions of our communities and the healing practices that support our patients and our families. So with that, it's my honor to open the event by introducing Grandmother Jackie. I'll tell you a little bit about her. Jackie is Turtle Clan of the Mohawk Nation, Six Nations of Grand River Territory, just down the road. She has worked with Indigenous organizations for over 30 years, providing services, sharing traditional teachings, and serving as a cultural advisor. And Jackie, we're so grateful to have you here to acknowledge this day. Thank you.
Sego, Scanagoga. The Gayadakwas Onkya to Hondo. Galibodegwe, Nawala Ganike Hagene, Workono Holado. Yes, my English name is Jackie, and it's my honor to be here today. And so I offer that gratitude for the invitation to be a part of this awesome gathering here today. And as Haudenosaunee, when we come together for whatever reason, whether it's for a meeting, a social gathering, or ceremony, we're asked to offer up these words on behalf of everyone that is gathered. And so, hopefully the fan is going to let me light this smudge here, and just to offer up the gratitude that we have these medicines yet, and it's part of a practice that I have adopted to smudge. Oh, I don't know, maybe we're having some challenges here. But we offer up this medicine to help cleanse the area and cleanse our spirit, because we recognize that we've all had this journey already today to varying degrees, and sometimes we don't recognize or even see or aware of some of the things, that those energies that attach to us. And so these medicines are part of what helps us to cleanse that, so that we're in a good space here while we're together. And as Haudenosaunee, when we're reminded of us coming together and all of the good medicine that we have, it's also in our words. And so this medicine is going to kind of dissipate and connect with everyone that is here. And so the first part of that acknowledgement is each other. Everyone traveled different distances to be here today, and we recognize the spirits that you carry, the good energy that you all carry. And when we come together in another circle, it builds an even greater energy. And so we offer that gratitude for all of you that are here today. And we recognize that perhaps some folks weren't able to make it, but we have them in our thoughts and our prayers and in our hearts as well. And so we offer up that great gratitude for each other. And then we acknowledge our Mother Earth, that she provides everything for us that we might need here on our journey, all the sustenance for our bodies, all of the beauty when we can look around. And even this morning, to see that beautiful sunrise, to recognize and know the medicine that it is for us. So we offer that gratitude for everything here, including the plants. We have the medicine plants and the food plants. And the strawberry is the leader amongst those plants. And it has become a symbol of that truth and reconciliation amongst our peoples. And so we offer that gratitude that here we are, another time gathering together, acknowledging each other and the journey that we do walk. So for all of those plants, and also for the medicine people that know those plants and are able to make those salves, those ointments, or even those teas to help us along on this journey, we offer up those gratitudes that they are still here yet helping us. And then also we acknowledge the creatures. And for us, the leader amongst them is that deer. And he not only provides that sustenance for our bodies, but we're able to utilize those hides for our garments, for our sacred items like our drums and our shakers. So many gifts those creatures have for us, so many teachings that they bring to us. So we offer up those gratitudes. And then we acknowledge the waters. And here we are between two of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world, with Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And that Niagara that joins them, the river that joins them together, reminds us the gifts that are within those waters. Sometimes we forget. We're 70% water as adults and as human beings. But with those waters, we're reminded of the strength, the perseverance, and the power. Those waters are here to remind us of those gifts. And so sometimes we need to reflect back to see those gifts that sit within each and every one of us. So we offer up to all of the waters, especially in the last little while, because it's come to us in different ways, right? In that liquid form and the solid form. And so we look forward down the road that it still continues, helping to replenish all of those lakes, those streams, creeks, rivers. We offer up for all of the waters. And then we bring our minds together to acknowledge the winged ones. We're told that the eagle is the leader amongst them. And we're reminded that he's the one that flies the highest. He watches out over all creation. And when we're gathered like this, utilizing our sacred items and our medicines, we're told that Creator's in a good place because we're still carrying on with our original instructions. And so we offer up the gratitudes for those winged ones, because their responsibility is to fly about our heads and to help keep our minds in a good place. And we know what a challenge that can be at times. So we offer up our gratitudes to all of those winged ones with their beautiful voices, however you may identify with them or whatever relationship you have with them. Maybe it's by their songs that you know, maybe by the color that they are, or maybe even their shapes. We all have a different relationship with them. And so we offer up those gratitudes for those winged ones that are here to help us. And then we recognize and look at to the heavens and our brother the sun. And like this morning for that beautiful sunrise, to know and see he's still continuing with his responsibility, bringing us not only the light of a new day, but also bringing us his special energy. And we know that there are folks within our circles who suffer if they don't have enough of that sun energy. So we offer up the gratitudes that he's still here helping us along on this road. And then we still look up in the heavens and look at our grandmother moon. She's called the nighttime sun, and she also has a very special energy. She is the one that takes care of all of the waters within his creation, and especially for all of the female energies, taking care of those 28-day cycles to ensure that new life continues here in this place. Whether it's the creatures, the winged ones, the plant life, or us as human beings. And so we look forward to all of the new lives that are going to be starting from this place. So we offer up the gratitudes that that cycle still continues. And Grandmother Moon is the one that's taking care of that. And then we acknowledge all of the stars in the heavens. We recognize that they represent our ancestors, all of those ones that have gone on before us. Whether it's our parents, our siblings, our grandparents, or maybe even our aunties and uncles, our friends and neighbors. We know when we can look up in the heavens and see the multitude that there is, what a vast family we have. And they're here to help guide us along on this journey. And we see that, we've witnessed that, because there was a nation of people who traveled from the far south, followed those stars and crossed over Niagara and settled here in this place of Niagara, and maybe even traveled further west for those places of peace and freedom. And so we offer up to our guides, our ancestors, that they're still here to help us along on this journey. And it's up to us that we need to make sure, too, that our hearts and our minds are open to receive those messages that may come to us. It may come through our friends, it may come through a stranger, opening a book, or maybe even through our dreams. we need to receive those and to work with them. And so our ancestors will help us along on this journey, so we offer up our gratitudes to them. And then we acknowledge those guides that walk beside each and every one of us that help us along on this day. And like I mentioned, like we've all traveled different times, different lengths of time for today. And maybe there were challenges that we have put in front of you this morning. But you were able to get yourself here today. And so we offer up those gratitudes. Because your guides helped to clear that path along with Creator. Cleared your path so that you're able to be where you needed to be today. And so we offer up those gratitudes that this has happened. And then we recognize that as human beings, we know that we're not perfect. And so whatever may have been forgotten in this ahondon kaliwadekwa, that we can offer that up in our minds at this time. And then we bring our minds together to acknowledge Songwendiso, or God, whatever you choose to call that great mystery that each and every one of us was given the gift of today. And it's up to us what we make of it. But we're reminded that come that sunset time, we're to step back and reflect on what this day has been all about. And if we harmed another spirit through our words or our actions, and we're given an opportunity again tomorrow to greet another day, that we might be able to do so in a kinder, in a more loving, and a more respectful way. And so for this, our ahondon kaliwadekwa, we offer up our gratitude, our love, our thanksgiving, and say Nyawa, Donato. Thank you.
Grandmother Jackie, thank you so much for opening this event in such a meaningful way. We appreciate you. We're reminded that we are privileged to provide care on lands that Indigenous peoples have called home for thousands of years. Our hospital, including this one, are located close to the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the Six Nations of the Grand River on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe, and with the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. We recognize and respect the presence and stewardship of all Indigenous peoples as keepers of this land. So I just wanted to take a brief moment before inviting our esteemed guests up here to share their reflections and just take in the moment to celebrate this institution. You know, as anchor institutions, hospitals don't just provide care, but they can actually provide a foundation for a community. They can represent strength, certainly resilience, and in this case, perseverance in bringing a community together. They also drive stability, wellness, fuel economic growth, and directly impact the health and quality of life for the people that they serve. Our team here and the many helpers that have been with us along the way have demonstrated this commitment every single day, delivering exceptional care and supporting health across our region. Until now, this care has been delivered with a great deal of heart and a great deal of skill, but perhaps in a facility that no longer meets the standards or demands of modern healthcare. But we loved that old building. There were a lot of tears shed by our staff as we think about moving on from it. The broader community, as well as everyone who works here, have experienced many of life's milestones in that space, whether it's the welcoming of new members through the babies that are joining our families, or the sad farewells that we've had to share with our family members within the space. We've really lived our lives in these buildings. But today is a time for us to celebrate creating a new space and a new center to support the next generation. And we're so excited that the next generation of this community will be able to have this wonderful and modern space to celebrate their own milestones as they navigate life in this community. Together, we've built a hospital that elevates the standard of care. It combines leading-edge design with that secret sauce that I think is so inherent in our community, that compassionate, community-focused service, world-class care with a small-town touch. And we're so proud of that, and we're so proud of that combination and being able to deliver that to the community. I wanted to take a moment to share a few key features of this new facility that we can be so proud of. First of all, it's 80% larger, expanding our capacity to meet what is a growing community. It includes all single inpatient rooms, which is absolutely set the bar and is a benchmark for infection control, privacy, and comfort within the health sector. The surgical capacity has increased by 50%. Any surgeon would love to practice here. I've said every one of our surgeons at HHS, anytime I have the opportunity to speak to them, I'm like, come and look at these ORs. Everyone will want to work here, and I know we have strong interest in working here. But this allows us to perform more surgeries, to reduce wait times, to improve access to care. And of course, our emergency department, many of you have probably visited the old emergency department. The new emergency department features additional assessment rooms, 2 world-class trauma bays, dedicated pediatric space, along with a new indoor ambulance bay for faster, safer patient transfers. These advancements position West Lincoln Memorial Hospital as a model for high-quality, efficient, and sustainable care that's delivered close to home right here in this community, with the backing and support of the broader Hamilton Health Sciences Network that will seamlessly bring access to other specialized care and services to this community as well. I'm so thrilled to be part of this. I know I'm a bit late to the game, so I got to come in at the end to celebrate, and it's been a long haul for many of you, but we're so pleased that we're here today and sharing this with the many advocates who've been part of this process. So now I'm very pleased to welcome a few special guests to share their reflections on this achievement, starting with, I don't know how we're going to keep them to a minute, but let's see. A great friend to this organization, Tony Josie. Tony was chair of the Save and Rebuild West Lincoln Memorial Hospital Community Group, and he is a longtime and well-known supporter of this project. Welcome, Tony.
Thanks, Tracy. I think when they sent the agenda out, they highlighted how long I was allowed to speak. At the sod turning, I got emotional, and my wife said this time, and Ruth Ann says, will you make some notes, okay? And it's like a wedding. You don't want to say names. But I can't go without. I need to tell those that didn't know. First of all, honored guests, Todd, Sylvia, Sam, Doug, the mayors, Catherine. Great day. My heart's been pounding since 6 o'clock this morning. Very exciting. My wife and I were here yesterday to make sure the balloons were up and everything's organized, and then we went and visited McNally, and that's coming along too, Sylvia. I want to recognize, we had 3 chairs for the Save and Build. Cindy Toth and Dr. Tom Edstel. They're the ones that kept me in line as I spouted off. And I want to recognize them. How did we get here? Some may know and some may not. Spring of 2012, after Norm and Debbie and the team and the community raised $13 million for a $130 million build, the Liberal provincial government stuck us right in the heart during the spring budget and canceled our new build that was approved and tenders were being called. Fact. So, after the downward spiral and the pain and suffering within the community, in my opinion, we had a new star. 9 years ago Monday, Niagara West elected the youngest MPP in the province of Ontario, Sam. During that 20-day by-election, I made sure that he sat down with Mary and Kurt, the hospital board members for the area, and got briefed on the hospital. I didn't have to teach him much because he was born here at the old one, okay? And I was very proud to see him sworn in, but really, really proud. On November 30th, a couple weeks after getting sworn in, he stood up in Queen's Park, and the first question was to the Minister of Health. The residents of Niagara West have been waiting 4 or 5 years. What, he doesn't swear, so, is going on? Anyways, a year later, on October 24th, 2017, he submitted the first petition, again to the Ministry of Health. And then Ontario came to realize if we want to get things done, we elected a Ford government in June of 2018. Sam got reelected, okay? And the day after, every time Sam gets elected, the day afterwards, he sends a letter off to the Premier and says his priorities that he learned and listened to the people at the door. And each time he got elected, the priority was West Lincoln Memorial Hospital rebuild. Very, very clear. Then what I call the bomb. I don't have to look at my notes. It was October 22nd, 2018. Hamilton Health Sciences hired a third party, okay? They did a report. Our hospitals got problems. We may have to close. We may have to change programs. It sent the community into a spiral. 24 hours later, we had a meeting at Trinity United Church. We had, some people say 5,000 to 10,000. The church only holds about 1,000 on the front lawn, but they live streamed it. We weren't done. Our great MPP got a hold of Doug. Friday, the same week, so 4 days after the announcement, Doug came down here, and during the announcement, we had one of the world's greatest doctors, Dr. Gary Benson. He resigned because of the report. So we got Gary, we got the newly elected mayors, and we got about 40 business people on a Friday, late Friday afternoon, and the Premier sat with Gary, doctor, then he met with the mayors, and then he went around the room. And after that, he said, Sammy, Monday morning, 8:30, we got to go see Christine Elliott. Niagara West has been screwed around for 20, 30 years, and they deserve an answer in 3 to 4 weeks. Sorry about all the texts, but I may have drove them crazy. But on November 28th, he walked down the hall at the old hospital. He gave me a hug, and he said, Tony, Friday is 4 weeks. He is a man of his word. He stood up there with Monty McNaughton, Christine Elliott, and our great MPP, Sam, and he says, we're building a new West Lincoln Memorial Hospital. That was 7 months in a couple weeks, 7 years to this day, okay? Well, you know, that was great. We were all excited, okay? But we had save and build. We wanted to save our programs. We had to save what was here. And, you know, between Christine Elliott and Robin Martin, who was her assistant, I drove them crazy along with Sam. But we needed to save our programs. The provincial government stepped up, and I won't tell you how much because the media will love that. They kept dumping money. We had to save, we had to rebuild the ORs. We had to, the OBN, okay? We rebuilt, okay? But while we were doing that, I think it was my Christmas present, December 2019. Sam called me and said, we got the money for stage 2. Well, stage 2, you got to sort out the programs. And what's the hospital going to look like? Up until that point, Tony and HHS fought like a son of a bitch. Okay? I may have even wanted to fire the CEO. I was mad. Okay? And I got to tell you, every meeting we had, people were mad at my door. And then, thank you, HHS. A savior was appointed chair. Charles Kermaninski, who's a mediator, lawyer, took me out for lunch. He was the new chair. I knew we were going to reach a point where in order to get this project across the finish line, that it's better to work together, a team, and achieve the programs that this community needs. Thank you, Charles, Mary, who was on our board, Kurt, who was on our board. They kept me all in line. We had many discussions. I think Charles reminded me of the one down in the basement, the old one. But we got through it. Now we have lunch and dinner with our wives, and we're best friends. Okay? And we're here today. But as we go forward, you know, oh, just wait. So then I said, I came up with a one team, one dream was our slogan. That was the slogan. In fact, Mike from News Now even made a magazine, One Team, One Dream. Okay, and that was our slogan, and I sincerely believed in it. Okay, and we wouldn't have got there. So April 30th, 22 was the sod turning, about a week before the election. That's another story. But I want to thank Ellis Don was picked, and Max and Randy represent the team. They did a first-rate job building this building. They did a great job, and thanks for letting me go through every few weeks to have a peek. I can't. HHS, Aaron's one of the VPs. He called me this week. He couldn't make it today. But Aaron, Rob McIsaac, Charles, Mary, Dave, Tracy, Catherine, absolute pleasure the last few years working with you to get here today. We couldn't have done it without your team. And on to the bigger and better ones. We'll talk to Sylvia and Doug about Jurvansky after today. But on to the next project. Anyways, from signing petitions to placing lawn signs to advocating with the province and local health system officials, the effort to build and complete a new West Lincoln Memorial Hospital has been a team effort from the beginning. Today's grand opening is a celebration of what happens when a community rallies around a local cause and never, ever gives up. Thank you, Province of Ontario. Thank you, HHS. Thank you to the local councils and our beloved staff who hung in there. And believe me, they need a round of applause, our staff. While we went through this, we had problems getting nurses. Had meetings in Hamilton, the General, trying to recruit, okay? When I was talking to Bruce, he's here, and I asked him at the golf tournament back in September, I said, how's it going now? And you need to know this. So they put a posting for a nurse today. They get 70 applicants. People want to come work in this community, be part of this new hospital, and I am so happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad I joined the party late. You'd be a fearsome negotiator, I think. So in all seriousness, thank you for your incredible dedication and passionate advocacy all of these years, Tony. Now I'd like to welcome the West Niagara mayors. So we have Mayor Jeff Jordan from the town of Grimsby, Mayor Cheryl Gunnan from Township of West Lincoln, and Mayor Sandra Easton, town of Lincoln. I'll ask you to join me up at the podium.
Well, Tony, you didn't disappoint. The gauntlet is down. You know, it's always easy when you come to a day like today after you've been through what we've been through and you realize what you had to do to get here. And I don't want anybody to leave here thinking that this was a cakewalk, not by any stretch. But I will say that I'm here today as the Mayor of Lincoln. But I'm very fortunate because at the region, this is my month to be the acting regional chair. So I'm going to speak from the perspective of both. One of the things that happened that I'll mention now is that every community in Niagara contributed to this hospital, every community. And that happened because, as Tony said, there was a plan here. And some people were part of that plan 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And Jeff Jordan and Cheryl Gunnan and all the mayors, we were people that came later because the system to get influence 15 years ago was a whole lot different than it was 6 years ago. And we needed to hammer on the whole issue of government relations. It was a serious business. I don't think that hospital administrators or that municipal administrators were ever involved in the development of hospitals to the extent that ours were. Certainly not the extent to Mike Kirkopoulos was. We needed those skills. We needed those lobbyists. And we needed people that the Premier liked and trusted. And we did that. And when it was necessary, sometimes we had to pay lobbyists. And we did them because we did that because we wanted the Premier to get the right information on the right day. So I am very, very pleased to be here today. It is such an extraordinary day. It is certainly something that I will never forget. It's not just a celebration of this building, it's a celebration of the people, the partnerships, the perseverance that made this long-awaited moment possible. And there were so many people that had such important roles to play throughout that entire journey. This hospital has been the heart of care for families across Lincoln, West Lincoln, Grimsby, and beyond. And we really come together today with such great pride, knowing that the same compassionate and personal care will continue in a modern and truly state-of-the-art facility that is ready to serve our region for decades to come. As the mayor of the town of Lincoln, I want to extend our heartfelt thanks to our partners at Hamilton Health Sciences. Tracy, to you and to the former CEO, Rob McIsaac, we had our own form of fighting. But, as Tony says, you get over these things. I made my points, and we move on. Brian and Aaron, great advocates. We would go to AMO, the plane would come in, Aaron would get off, he'd meet the whole team, off we'd go to our delegation, Minister Jones. I don't know how many times you've seen us, that great long line of people from Niagara. I think it was quite successful, and I very much appreciate your own advocacy and your interest in what we were doing. Sam would be there, throw out the red carpet. It was a perfect storm every time we went. It worked. We also offer our sincere and immense gratitude to all of our provincial partners, including Premier Ford. You were so sincere and committed in your advocacy for us. The fact that you continued on, you wrote it on the board. I have that picture. And I very much appreciate that you never let us down. Things take time, and we understand that, but you never let us down. It was your direct involvement, your strong support, and who knows, maybe Sammy was pulling you along. I want to especially acknowledge and thank Sam. Your advocacy for the people of Niagara West has been unwavering. You've been a constant champion for this hospital, ensuring that its importance was heard clearly at Queen's Park. Commitment, persistence, presence at every stage of this project have truly made a difference. You stood shoulder to shoulder with our communities, and we are deeply grateful for your leadership and the fact that you brought your vision, our vision, to reality. We started with Minister Elliott. It seems like such a long time ago. And there are many others who supported this project throughout its journey, but we certainly could have worn ourselves out with Minister Jones. This moment also stands on the shoulders of many who came before us, former mayors, Bentley, Joyner, Bilsma, Gannan, Jordan, and the numerous CAOs, but I particularly have to thank Mike Kirkopoulos because he had the government relations experience. He knew what to do with that. He knew how to take it forward and to provide us with the kind of leadership we needed in that regard. It was so new to us. Tony, we laugh at your enthusiasm, but sometimes when things were really a bit down, we'd get that message. about the dream team, and it would lift us all up and get us going again. So thank you for more and more of that. Who knows, with your new projects, it might be needed again. People in the community. It's amazing how a group of people standing in the middle of a football field, in the middle of a snowstorm, holding candles. I wasn't there. This is all an image I have. I've heard this story so many times. These are the people that never gave up. But make no mistake, it required leadership. You can't have a great idea. You can't be emotional about a situation and not expect there to be an end product that you're going to really appreciate unless you're prepared to put yourself on the line in terms of your own leadership. This is a defining moment, and it reminds us what is possible when a community stands together with a shared purpose. I'm joined today by my colleagues on Regional Council, Albert Witteveen, Rob Foster, Michelle Seaborn, Wayne Furtick was involved. And together, our Niagara West communities committed more than $20 million to this project. The region has also been a strong supporter, contributing around $12.6 million to its construction. Again, the staff creating a formula, proving to anyone that wanted to be part of that formula who should contribute, how much should they contribute. So I want to thank Ron Tripp and his staff for working with our staff, because that was a tough nut to crack. And now, for all I know, I think that formula is being used by the Niagara hospitals as well, the Niagara South Hospital. And I hope that they have the same luck that we did in the chambers that night. It was the regional councillors that brought that motion forward. We had everybody. Tony was on the phone. Anybody that knew anybody was saying, vote for this motion. And they did. And we walked out of there, we were 4 feet off the ground. Access to health care is a fundamental pillar of the social determinants of health. Whenever we strengthen the tools, spaces, and resources available to our healthcare workers, we strengthen the well-being of our entire society. On behalf of the Town of Lincoln, Regional Council, and all staff across both organizations, let me offer our warmest congratulations on the completion of this remarkable facility. We look forward to the many ways the new West Lincoln Memorial Hospital will enhance healthcare, wellness, and quality of life across Niagara and beyond. Congratulations to everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is with absolute excitement, pride, and a heartfelt anticipation that we celebrate the opening of the new West Lincoln Memorial Hospital, a long-awaited milestone that reflects the strength, unity, and perseverance of our entire West Niagara community. I want to recognize our distinguished guests, Premier Doug Ford, Associate Minister of Energy Sam Oosterhoff, Sylvia Jones, and Region of Niagara members of Grimsby Town Council, my fellow mayors from Lincoln and West Lincoln, each of whom share deep personal roots with the hospital. Since first opening its doors in 1946, West Lincoln Memorial Hospital has been the heart of our community, a place where countless stories began, including my own. I was born here in March 1962, and my family's connection runs deep through generations of service to this remarkable institution. When the future of West Lincoln Memorial Hospital was uncertain, our residents raised their voices, led by Tony and many other volunteers. It was truly a community effort. It was a powerful show of unity that helped transform hope into reality, and today we stand before a state-of-the-art facility that will provide exceptional care for generations to come. A new hospital represents far more than bricks and mortar. It is a symbol of hope, progress, and harmony. It ensures families can access quality care close to home, strengthens the local economy, and attracts skilled professionals. Most importantly, it reflects a community of shared pride, a place where generations are born, healed, and cared for, and where the community continues to grow stronger for the future. On behalf of the Town Council and residents of Grimsby, I share in the overwhelming joy and pride of this moment. Together we have built more than a new hospital. We have strengthened the very heart of our community. Thank you.
So it's always hard to go last, especially after two experienced mayors. Although I'm a longtime resident of West Lincoln and obviously West Niagara, I am the newest of the mayors. And so I'm going last, and I will be the shortest, I promise. So it's an honor to join all of you today to celebrate the official opening of our new West Lincoln Memorial Hospital. It took many hands and many voices, as you've heard, to get us to this momentous day. And I want to take a brief moment to share my gratitude on behalf of the Township of West Lincoln. So first of all, thank you to the province. So this would not be possible without the steadfast commitment from Premier Ford and, of course, our local MPP Sam. Sam has been a stalwart all the way through this process, and if people haven't said that enough, I just want to add my voice to that. From the get-go, Sam and I I was in a by-election the same summer that Sam was first elected, and so we shared signs everywhere and sort of built a bond, sort of one of the older people around and one of the younger, but we've connected in terms of kinds of things that we care about. So I'm very grateful, Sam, for your support. Minister Jones, it's always lovely to have you, and we're certainly glad that you are now on board for this celebration, so thank you as well. I'd like to also thank Hamilton Health Sciences for their expertise and leadership, and the West Lincoln Memorial Hospital Foundation for their passionate fundraising and support. But perhaps most of all, since I'm the last to speak, I'd like to recognize every community member who refused to let this matter fade from the forefront of public attention. Community support for our local hospital has been unwavering. To all residents, to past mayors and council members, to various hospital and community boards and members over the years, thank you for keeping the dream of a new hospital alive for decades and for seeing it through to this completion. To me, this hospital for many symbolizes the philosophy of never giving up on your dream. I've always felt that way, and when Tony made that sort of the slogan and became part of the Save and Rebuild campaign, it really spoke to me personally, and I think that is what this is all about. It really has been a dream for decades, and now it's a reality. So thank you to all who are involved.
Thank you so much. So without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce MPP Sam, who has been a tireless and passionate advocate for this project. Sam.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is an amazing day. This is a day that genuinely at some points over the years felt like it might not happen. I'll share a little story. One of the highlights of my life happened to be on also one of the days that was one of the scariest days of my political career. The reason was the same day that I got the report that we saw from HHS that was going to shut down our hospital was the same day I actually proposed to my wife. And she said yes. So I'm very happy about that. It was the happiest day of my life on one hand, and yet on the other, when that news came forward, we didn't know what was going to happen. And Tony was texting me nonstop and wondering why I wasn't picking up. It's because I was on one knee. But now to see where we are, this is just, it's surreal. There's so many faces and people and doctors and staff and community advocates and leaders and people who have just been here since day one. And if I start getting into the thank yous, it will keep going, and everything's been said, I think. So I will just say one especially large thank you. First, I have to acknowledge Christine Elliott, who wanted to be able to be here. She wasn't able to make it, and she sends her regrets, but wants you to know that she's here in our thoughts, in her thoughts. Minister Jones, thank you so much for your work, and Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Todd McCarthy, thank you as well for joining us. Those of you who work in healthcare, though, you're very familiar, I'm sure, with the concept of triage. right? So you have to deal with incoming requests, you have to deal with limited resources and unlimited needs. And that's the reality of healthcare in any setting. It's also the same in government. And if you are someone who has to learn triage, it's the Premier of Ontario. Because there are more requests coming into his office, into his inbox, into his cell phone, and from caucus than you can shake a stick at. Tens of billions of dollars of requests, probably weekly. And I will never forget the time that shortly after we had learned what might happen, the shutdown of our hospital, speaking with the Premier, and I won't exactly quote exactly what he said, but I'll say, he said, we got to get down there. We got to go check this out. And to Tony's point, he was down here within a week. He was meeting with community members, and I'll never forget when you signed that whiteboard and said, we're going to get you a new hospital. And I could see the eyes on all the staff who were around there in that ER kind of going, what just happened? And now to be here is just, it's a dream come true. And I am so deeply thankful, Premier, for your commitment. This wouldn't have happened without that. I know that there are so many requests, but this was something you prioritized because you care for Niagara, you care for the people here. You saw the value of the birthing suites here, the amazing obstetrics program, the heart of the staff, the people who've come through here. And so as someone who was born here and hopefully will die here in a long time, I'm deeply, deeply moved and humbled to have been able to play a small part in it. And I just want to give all praise and thanks to God for the journey, and acknowledgement to all of you for the role that you've all played in so many others who couldn't fit in this room because the room is too small for the amazing amount of people who helped make it a reality. And with that, I have the privilege of welcoming for the second time this week someone who's been down in the Niagara region, Todd McCarthy, a good Dutch name. Welcome, Acting Minister of Infrastructure for the Province of Ontario. Thank you.
Talk about energetic advocacy. This man is truly a champion for Niagara. Thank you, Sam. It's an honor to be here as Acting Minister of Infrastructure. And, of course, we're in a hospital where babies are born, and I can say that I'm filling in for the parental leave of Minister Kinga Surma, who is the Minister of Infrastructure, and she's given birth to a beautiful baby girl named Georgia. So we salute her and baby today. Mother and baby are doing very well. This is truly an incredible milestone that is due to the efforts of so many. Proud to be here at the opening of the new West Lincoln Memorial Hospital. This hospital will serve the people of this community for generations to come, and it's just one of the many new builds and investments that our Ontario government is delivering across the Niagara region. I want to recognize, of course, Minister and MPP Sam Osherhoff for his efforts, his outstanding advocacy, and his strong voice for Niagara at Queen's Park. And, of course, with his advocacy and the leadership of Premier Doug Ford and Deputy Premier and Minister of Health Sylvia Jones, this dream has become a reality and more to come. Our Ontario government is doubling down on our plan to build across Niagara and Ontario. From 2 new hospitals to new and expanded schools, hundreds of long-term care beds, and tens of millions for roads, bridges, water, wastewater, and irrigation systems, we are making, indeed, historic, unprecedented investments across this region and across our province. We're also unlocking approximately 30,000 new homes in our region here in Niagara by building critical infrastructure that protects communities and keeps workers on the job. And this, of course, is part of our $200 billion capital plan to protect jobs, strengthen our communities, and build a better Ontario for tomorrow. Pressing forward with these projects is more important than ever before, not only because we will serve Grimsby and Niagara West for generations, but because they build more prosperous communities and they support well-paying jobs, including the 270 full-time construction jobs created by this hospital build alone. So congratulations to all who made the grand opening of West Lincoln Memorial Hospital a success, and I look forward to working with our partners in the years to come. And with that, I'm proud to introduce Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, Sylvia Jones.
Thank you, Todd. You know, when Premier Ford asked me to serve as the Minister of Health. And Tracy, I'm pretty sure as you lead Hamilton Health Sciences, you had a similar conversation. It was pretty clear that we had to show progress. We had to make progress in our system. We have to leverage partnerships. And I see that with municipal leaders here in the room and, of course, Tony's advocacy. And finally, we have to celebrate success. I think we're doing that today. Congratulations. It's wonderful to be back here in Grimsby alongside Premier Ford, Minister McCarthy, and of course, the man who doesn't have to be named, Sam Oosterhoff. Amazing advocacy. I was chatting with Sam earlier today saying, I can't believe you asked a question 9 years ago and you're opening a new hospital already. So congratulations. Building a more connected healthcare system is absolutely at the core of what we are doing in the Ministry of Health and the province of Ontario, and you're seeing that right here in Grimsby and across Niagara. Thank you to Hamilton Health Sciences and the team at West Lincoln Memorial for hosting us today and for everything you have been doing to provide exceptional care to patients and their families across our region each and every day. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government continues to make record investments to protect and strengthen Ontario's healthcare system, to provide people of all ages with the care they need, where and when they need it. We are taking bold and innovative action to make it faster and easier for patients and their families to connect to more convenient care closer to home. And we're seeing the results of our efforts. We have been making historic investments to connect every Ontarian to primary care providers by 2029. And we continue to prepare for the future by undertaking the largest medical school expansion in the province's history. Right here, right up the road in Hamilton Health Sciences, we are investing an additional $40.6 million this year, in addition to investing nearly $8.4 million through the Health Infrastructure Renewal Fund to support critical infrastructure and upgrades at your hospitals. Today, I am thrilled to be able to celebrate with you this amazing milestone for the West Lincoln Memorial Hospital. But today would not have been possible without a very clear signal and a leader who was committed to getting this project done. So along with your MPP, Sam Oosterhoff, with our caucus, it is my great honor to welcome our leader who makes sure that these projects move forward the bureaucracies, Premier Doug Ford.
Wow, what a lineup of speakers, and you know something, so much, a sense of pride. That's what I was saying. And Tracy, as we were coming through here, it's a sense of pride, and Grandmother Jackie, that was wonderful words of wisdom, and thank you. You know, nothing's more satisfying to everyone, number one, in the community, but there's been numerous champions, but you always have to have that one person leading the charge. And the community, Tony, you're as passionate as they come, but honestly, at Queen's Park, all the credit goes to Sammy. And sorry, I call him Sammy, but he's but Sammy is passionate. I do remember that day when I came down, because we had just got elected that June, and I think it was one of my first visits to a hospital, and I came to the hospital, and I thought, boy, this is an old place. But what stood out were those signs and the passion about everyone around the community, and rah, rah, rah. There's one thing to say, here's X amount of dollars to a great hospital down University Avenue, and they're all great hospitals, but you don't see, I guess, the passion in the community. And that's what makes the difference between West Lincoln Memorial and other great hospitals, because we have a tremendous amount of pride in all the people that work here in our healthcare sector. you know, this is possible, and I'm not going to repeat everything that we're doing here in the Niagara region. But again, when you have a champion like Sam out there, I always say the foundation of our healthcare system, our foundation of our education and infrastructure, and we're pouring money into Niagara. And I can't say this would happen if it wasn't for you, Sammy, up there, jumping up and down. It's a team, the community, the team. But there always has to be that one person at Queen's Park. And Mayor, can I tell you something? Mayor Easton and all three mayors, thank you for your advocacy. But you never, ever have to pay any lobbyist. You pick up the phone, like I get 1,000, I'm not exaggerating, 1,000 messages a day. You pick it up and say, Doug, I need your help. And I know we've talked before, so to all the mayors, never pay a penny to lobbyists. That's my message. I'm probably got ticked off every lobbyist in the community now. They're going to be upset with that comment, but it doesn't matter. You know, you have to be able to pick up the phone and give me a call any time at all. And the other area, when I walked in, the state of the art equipment and medical devices and everything. You've thought of absolutely everything here, and we're just going to be there to support you. And I got to apologize to the person doing the teleprompt because I'm not following it at all, and I apologize for that. But I just I felt such a sense of pride myself, and I'm not from the community. But I also remember, Sammy, when we came here once, and Tony, you were saying it was October, and then we came back in November, like a few weeks later, and we said we have to get it done. 4 weeks later, Tony, and we said we just have to get this done for the community, because I've never ever seen a community so entrenched, so excited, so involved, and wearing their heart on their sleeves, saying we need to get it done. And it's again, probably I don't want to compare, but you know, the big hospitals, they'll do a fundraiser, they'll raise 40, 50 million over a year, but it's tough in the smaller communities because there's so many doors you got to knock on to get the $1,000 donation and the $10,000 donation, but you all worked your backs off, and this is beautiful. But one area that stood out, I remember, and I was talking to a lot of people even outside of the area a little bit, when you're going to have a child, you have a little baby, you're coming to West Lincoln Memorial. And that was your reputation of having the best docs there and nurses and healthcare workers to deliver babies. So I guess you're lined up. Well, the Dutch have about 10 or 12 kids, don't they? So you still have a long ways to go. What are you on, number? Okay, what are you on, number 2 or 3, Sammy? 2? Okay, you're going to be working at it. You got a couple more to catch up to me. But folks, I just want to thank the frontline healthcare workers here, because they take such pride. And I've always said I'll put our health teams anywhere in Ontario against anyone in the entire world. We have the best docs, we have the best nurses, we have the best healthcare folks anywhere in the entire world. And you know, when we do our budget, we're pouring astronomical amount of money into healthcare. And you know, my brother Rob used to say, don't talk billions to people, they don't understand it, but I'm going to talk billions. When we came into office, I called it the bankrupt company that we're walking into in 2018. Healthcare was at $61 billion. They were firing nurses and they weren't building the infrastructure and so on and so forth. Think of today, the last budget, the whole health is about $91 billion. $91 billion, a jump of over $30 billion. That's not including the $60 billion, and I think that's going to exceed the $60 billion, of 50 new sites. And I'm just so proud that I can come up and I can go anywhere in Ontario and say, you're either getting a brand new hospital or you're getting an addition to a hospital. And Niagara's done really, really well because we've spent about $3.1 billion down the street in Niagara in a big mega hospital. But I just, again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each and every one of you. I'll always be there to support you. And I just want to say, God bless each and every one of you. And I'm so, so grateful you invited me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Premier Ford, for making things happen, and thank you to our Minister of Health, Minister Jones. Thank you to Sam. Thank you to our municipal governments and all advocates in the community for this tremendous